Hi everyone, welcome back again to Spiritual Growth Tarot and Astrology. Thank you for being here with me. I'm Denise, and this will be your astrological transits for September 3rd through the 9th. We have Venus going direct, which is good, on the 3rd, but then also we have Jupiter going retrograde. That actually might not be such a bad thing. Anyway, let me swap out cameras here and take you through the charts day by day. Hold on. Okay, so in our Milky Way spiral galaxy, we are here Sunday, September 3rd at 8 a.m. Besides, Mercury trining Jupiter and the moon moving into Taurus, what is also, I would say, even more important has to do with the North Node exactly conjunct Eris. So that, Eris is just going to sit there literally. I don't think it goes into Taurus until like 2044, if I remember correctly. She takes 558, I think. Yeah, 558 years to circle around the spiral galaxy to get all the way around the zodiac. So she's sitting there, and the North Node is catching up to her. And the North Node in Aries, that is ruled by Mars. She's ruled by Mars. She's squaring Pluto, giving him a reality check. He's sitting there in Capricorn, which, if it's in distortion, it's greed and corruption. It's the establishment man. And with the North Node in Aries, it's being, the establishment, literally, the government, the establishment is being tested by the will of the people. Because the will of the people are going towards Aries, and they're not having it anymore. And especially the women, and especially with the moon has already gone through Aries, but it depends on when you listen to this video. On Sunday, so if you watch it, today or tomorrow, it'll still be in Aries. But on Sunday, today, tomorrow, Saturday, but Sunday morning, the moon is at 0 degrees Taurus. Taurus is just a Taurus moon, when it comes to women and people who want safety and protection and basically, who doesn't want self-preservation? Who doesn't want to have control over their own bodies? All of those things are very feminine related. So Eris, the feminine aspect of Mars, and I would say stronger than Pluto, because she's, she takes twice as long to get around the zodiac, is just going to sit there and go, no, we're going this way. We're going this way towards so much more energy for people to go in the direction that they want to go. There's, it's powerful. It's independent, and sometimes impulsive. But at this later degree of Aries, it might be less impulsive. But there's definitely fearlessness here, major fearlessness, and positive self-assertion, positive aggression, and bumping up against the squares. We tend to, and with Pluto in the tension field between the North and the South Node, the squares tend to create like crashes. They can be kind of crashes, and then things will work out eventually. Somebody will win eventually. I don't think it's going to be Pluto and Capricorn, because we've had enough of that. And then, just looking at things in the news. So we've gone through the fuck around and find out phase for the Proud Boys, and because those sentencings are coming down, and it's going to be harsh. Mitch McConnell has another brain seizure, happened, the second one. right there in full display publicly because he just won't give it up and stay home and take care of himself. And obviously doesn't have anybody that cares about him, family or his wife Elaine Chow. There's no care there. So that speaks volumes right here with the all this feminine energy that's just had it. So, and then here we are with Rudy Giuliani. He's getting spanked hard legally by a bunch of women, right? I mean, Judge Howell ruled that he's liable for defaming Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss, her daughter, Ruby Freeman's daughter, those two Georgia election workers. So there's that. That's a civil suit. But he also had to surrender to Fulton County Jail in the fake elector scheme. And, of course he was bailed out. But he's a guy that has Pluto literally sitting on his south node. That's not in every lifetime. It's a once-in-a-lifetime transit when you have it in that lifetime, if you catch my drift. You don't get it every lifetime, but when you have it, it's a once-in-a-lifetime transit. So, yeah, there we are. The fuck around and find out phase. The culmination. And that will only tighten up more, but I'll talk about that later. So, Sunday, with this Mercury at 16 degrees, Mercury retrograde, right? So no less, oh my God. It's just so powerful when it comes to digging in for more and more details. And with this trine over here to Jupiter, and it's an applying trine because Mercury's at 16 and going back this way to 15. But, we have to talk about this for this week. So Jupiter's here wanting healing, wanting people to reassess their belief systems, wanting people to just go for what is truth, and to have the sun moving this way and Mercury moving this way. Of course, you can see, right now there's 6 degrees of separation, or a little less, but you can see that those two joined together will bring in more healing, more details, more tracking of the patterns. And with the South Node in Libra, it's all geared towards justice. So justice and equality for women, justice and equality for the people, because the people are the ones that really, the nodes are the will of the people. So the wisdom of the past and then moving forward in a new way, because you've been there, we've been there, because they go backwards. But the deal is that, by 18 and a half, 19 years, they've done one full rotation. So, even if you're a youngster on the planet, by the time you're in your 20s, you pretty much have it figured out the way things work. And then, you're working through your own stuff too all your life. But so let's go back to Jupiter trining. We have, it's a harmonious aspect, but it might not be for some people because it's harmonious if you're in truth, if you're living, in the laws of truth, which are geared towards equality, justice, fairness, love towards everyone, compassion towards, everyone. But if you're operating from a platform of hatred and racism, and where no one's ever going to meet your level because you're up there so high, all of that baloney, to the point that they think that people are there to serve them, that's not living within the laws of love. So from there could be some more, I just have to say it again, I fucked around and now I'm going to find out kind of energy coming through. Because it doesn't have to be a harmonious aspect if you're not living in harmony. But for those of us who are, who've been waiting for these days to come, we are not surprised, not shocked by anything coming out, except for when people try to stand up for the the dark, corrupt establishment is, I guess, the only way I can really say it. And actually giving them money, it makes me wonder, about their sanity. So anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and move on from there. So now with the moon newly into Taurus, now remember the moon is our intuition. It's how we connect the dots. It's how we digest life as it comes, through us. And, everything is like your stomach is your second brain. It will attach to, it'll attach to information in a way that you can respond to, or your stomach will be responding to something and then your head will go, oh, hold on. That doesn't feel good if I go there. Or, oh, I can't eat that anymore. Or this works, I want this digested really well and I'll have that again later, that type of thing. So it's nurturing. And when it comes to being in the sign of Taurus, well, and it's also, we also have to remember that the moon rules the public. So it could be that something comes out the public today and it has everything to do with finances and people's personal, like what they own. So we can look for more of that. It also rules the public mood, But so for us, though, it's our eating habits. So in Taurus, we are more patient. We don't mind cooking yummy food. It's fixed. It can be kind of stubborn. It's a fixed sign, but it's earthy and it's ruled by Venus. So it's all about unity, and it can be like a couple of days, 2.5 days of a very steady time to be grounded. You might be looking at things that bring in more. Things that you trust more. You might want more luxury around you too, more comfort, of course. But the only way it could cause problems over the next few days is if you're just very driven on making a lot of money at the expense of your body. Anytime we do that, we're in trouble, or it will create problems. If you're younger, you can get away with it for a while, but not for too long. So, okay, let's look at this. So I think I've covered the overview of the Pluto squaring the nodes, and of course that lasts until December 7th of this year. Eris here squaring Pluto lasts all the way through December 25th this year. And as the nodes move closer to Eris, there's going to be a tighter. Well, it's already happening. See the 25 degrees 43 minutes. It's gonna be like 42 minutes 40. As it moves, and then we will have an even tighter degree of Eris, or I guess I would say we would have a more of an emphasis, more passion, more movement. These are all like Aries keywords: passion, movement. Chiron's going back, so the gifts are coming out already, have come out, and when it goes direct, I'll talk about that more. But so passion, movement, motivation, most of all. Initiation. I'm trying to think of some other Aries keywords. Like I said, positive self-assertion, aggression, things like that. But as these two come together, there's also the opposition to the South Node. So the South Node in Libra is, again, it's about justice and fairness and equality and relationships. Now, Venus is ruling the South Node. Mars is ruling the North Node. So we've got, like the masculine, feminine going on. But we have the feminine connection here with Eris, so there's a lot of feminine energy. It doesn't matter how you identify or how you were born. Everyone has a divine masculine and a divine feminine within them. There really is no separation. We just try to, because on Earth we're here in duality, and it's like, yeah. So, but anyway, Libra brings in the element, and because of Venus, the element of relationship, and then with Venus, it's what we value. So again, with the reevaluating of values, and especially with Venus here look how she's at 12 degrees, 12 minutes, because she will be going direct very soon. I have another chart for that. But the deal is there's just a lot of, there's a predominance of feminine energy, although Libra is considered masculine, where feminine, where Aries is considered masculine, but there's still this connection to reevaluating relationships based on a new set of values that you might have. So that's all on the table. And then the other overview for quite some time would be Neptune sextiling Pluto. So again, those opportunities to work your way out of any delusions, opportunities to ground yourself in your spiritual source inside of you. And that's especially true as well because we have Saturn sextiling the moon for today. That's wonderful. Spiritually sourced foundations would be my keywords for Saturn in Pisces, and especially Saturn retrograde in Pisces. Which is the thing I clued in with Mitch McConnell when he had that brain seizure. I had to stop and hurry and look at his chart. Now, he doesn't have an exact time online, but I intuitively, back in the days when he fell on that porch, when he fell on his porch and broke his shoulder, I'm going, okay, this is a good time to try and figure out. So I kind of rectified his chart a little bit. And so anyway, it wouldn't even matter with that for this, because I think he's like a 1 or a 2 degrees, might even be a 0 degrees Pisces. But so the sun, the retrograde Saturn is crossing over his sun. And so when it goes direct, it's going to happen again, And it already happened once, so there's trouble there. Yeah, I mean, my goodness. Who comes in with a Pisces sun and then tries to control the world? Like, what? God. Okay, so with the sextile from Pluto to Neptune there, that lasts until October 22nd. So we want to keep using this, opportunity that we've got going on to be in our natural sense of, or just our natural state. With Pluto and Capricorn, if you're in your natural self, you are in your authority. And as long as you're working for, when it comes to Capricorn especially, as long as you don't mind working hard on yourself and working for the transformation of your soul, because you remember that's really the only reason why you're here on Earth, then you're doing the best work you can. And with Neptune and Pisces there, that is absolutely perfect with that sextile. So the other sesco squares, I'm going to skip those because they don't mean a whole lot. We did talk about Venus squaring Jupiter a lot last week, but so I think I'll skip ahead to the next chart because we can still address that later. So here we go with Venus stationing direct at still Sunday, but at 6:21 p.m. Pacific time. And so you can see, I love how it went from 12 degrees to 12 minutes. 12 degrees, 12, 12. I like that. So the moon, of course, is still in Taurus. Like I said, we've got a nice trine over to, that's Jupiter trining the sun. And Jupiter trining Mercury, I just spoke about that. But the deal with the sun and Mercury coming closer together is there will just be that emphasis of bringing out more details, and for us personally, more ways to take care of ourselves, to be healthy. The only trouble is if you're, just going to never be happy with yourself. If you're never satisfied with yourself, you're going to make yourself miserable. So you don't want to do that. You want to celebrate those small, little, daily experiences of making things work better, of creating more divine order in your life, of, like I said, healing and transforming your soul. So, okay, now let's look at Venus stationing direct, because with now that it's 12 degrees, now it goes direct, it's going to start going back over the territory that it went retrograde in. It started out, Venus was at 28 degrees when she went retrograde. So now she's going to go back over that same territory. And part of that will bring in not only what we have now with the square to Jupiter, but also it's going to bring in the square to Uranus. So, and Uranus is moving backwards towards, but you know what? Even though Uranus is retrograde, it's still only going to move 4 degrees in the whole retrogradation process of, I think, something like 150 days. So, suffice to say, it's pretty much the last, 10 degrees, the last decan of Taurus. And so it's all about reinventing yourself into ways that bring in more happiness, more steadiness, more faith in yourself, more of the ability to believe in yourself with Jupiter and Taurus, and then Uranus is helping you to wake up to that. Uranus is just excellent for reinventing yourself. And being more human on top of Uranus and Taurus with the body experience of being more human, and then this trine going on up to Pluto. It's going out of orbit. Then when Uranus goes direct, it will we'll have it reconnect again. So this trine to Pluto is good to talk about, because this is something for months that will be worked with. And again, back to what I was saying before about the most positive use of Capricorn energy is just that steady, reliable, day-to-day, one foot in front of the other, work, and manifesting from your love, manifesting from your authority, where you don't kiss the ring and you don't give it up. It's like rebel against the establishment, man, right? It's like that. Can you tell I was born in the late 50s and, well, not more mid 50s, and grew up in the 70s or late 60s, early 70s. Yeah. No, really, I was in my 20s by then, so whatever. But when I think of the word, when I see Pluto and Capricorn, I think establishment, and then I just, for some reason, the world, the word comes into my world that's like the man. So how about we can be our own establishment within? How about we're established in our own authority? Let's do it that way. Let's use that mantra. We are established in our own inner authority. And with Uranus, with that trine there, we'll have more and more new ideas to help us liberate ourselves, to help us detach from things that aren't right, and can help us to create some big changes in our lives. There can be, with Uranus, there can be a break for freedom. So maybe a lot of people are getting out of debt. Maybe a lot of people are getting their finances under control, especially with the trine coming from Jupiter to in Taurus to Mercury, and Mercury retrograde in Virgo. So that's nice. I like seeing that. Let's see. We have. Well, this is the evening. Yeah, I think I should just go ahead and go forward to Monday. So Monday, Jupiter stations retrograde at 7, get this again with the numbers, 7:11 a.m., man. September 4th, Monday, September 4th, 7:11 a.m. Pacific time, Jupiter stations retrograde in Taurus, and the moon is conjunct at the same time. So that's actually a very nice aspect to have, because the moon can help us intuit in our own lives individually where it is that we may be going while Jupiter is retrograde. I don't mind Jupiter being retrograde. I don't mind any of the retrogrades, because they all create more emphasis on moving inward. Now, a lot of people go, "Oh no, the retrogrades! Oh." It does. In all my years studying astrology, I've never had, and I'm one that's born with, I think, 4 different retrogrades in my chart natally. They go direct by progression, unless it's like a big outer planet, like Neptune, Uranus, or Pluto. But, or even Saturn takes a long time to do that. But, so any of the personal planets, well, of course, the moon never does go retrograde, or the sun. But if you're born with Mercury, Venus, or Mars retrograde, they will go direct by by a certain age. So it's not a thing to worry about. Retrogradations of the planets just brings things more inward rather than being outwardly driven all the time, and that's a good thing. It's not good to be outwardly driven all the time, or inwardly oriented all the time. It creates, the retrogradations create balance in life. So, okay. The trine to Jupiter and Mercury is exact at this point as well. So when Jupiter, we just have to remember this over the months, that when Jupiter went retrograde, we had this nice connection to Mercury, and Taurus and Virgo. That is a beautiful energy together, because of course it creates a trine, and with the Sun at this end helping Mercury, we're being led to details. Details are the spotlight. Our service and work and health and our smaller pets, those are all things ruled by Virgo. And like I always say, to me, Virgo is the energy of creating order out of what seemed to be chaos. So there's nothing wrong with that at all. And with so we have 2 trines to Mercury here with the moon and Jupiter. So again, like I said, intuitively going in the direction that creates more bliss and happiness in your life, and more stability and security. And then with the Sun energy over here, you'll know how to do it. It will become apparent. Whatever you need to work on will become apparent. That you can count on. And then Venus here, she's going direct. It's going to take until October before she moves into Virgo. So we have quite some time. I think it's early October though. Actually, I think it's the first week in October. So we have a whole month, a little bit more than a month, or about a month, to still spend time with Venus and Leo. That would be bringing in your heart energy into everything that you do, bringing through self-love so you can love yourself through whatever you're going through. Reparenting yourself is a form of loving yourself as you go through the old false beliefs that are being emphasized with the moon and Jupiter. Because remember, again, no matter what, Jupiter first and foremost is always about belief systems. So what do you really believe, like deep in your body, with Taurus there? And Taurus doesn't like to change, but with the Virgo energy over here, the change is a good type of change, and as well as with Venus in Leo here, that's big change. That's big heart-opening change. So again, just back to loving yourself and eventually loving others. Okay, so, and then another level too, others can love us in a way that helps us love ourselves. So that's beautiful. But notice how we have the trine up here to Chiron. So as every degree that Venus goes back over the territory it began with, when it was retrograde, it's going to clock, closer and closer and closer to this beautiful trine that's beginning right now with Chiron in Aries. So the Chiron in Aries energy will be to bring through your gifts of energy. Aries is very energetic. It can be really helpful to bring through your self-assertion, to trust your instincts most of all. That movement that your body just wants to go in without any obstacle in the way, without even thinking about it. Even though Aries rules the head, it's not really it's not at all an intellectual sign. It's, unless there's other aspects to it, it's about just instinctively going in a specific direction, and it's very, very related to movement. So there's that. Okay, so let's go to Tuesday. Tuesday is an awesome day because the moon has crossed over Jupiter and Uranus and now is conjunct Uranus by, 2 a.m. So if you wake up early in the morning with an amazing dream, I wouldn't be surprised. If you had some guidance that came through, I would not be surprised at all. And that's because we have the sextile to Neptune, dreamy Neptune in Pisces. And notice how we have a sextile over here, too, to Pluto. So if anything comes through, and then the trine down to Uranus and the moon from Pluto, anything at all that helps you heal your soul in dream time, I would not be surprised at all. Or you might have some crazy dreams. I've been having crazy dreams that just don't make sense at all. It's like, who are these people? Why are we here? What? It's taught me to be very careful about which movies I watch before I, go to sleep. That's the thing, is it's better to meditate yourself to sleep rather than watch a movie and then realize, oh, it's too late. So, or you try to meditate and you just fall asleep. Well, that's good too. But anyway, so again, Chiron trining Neptune, or Venus is there, like I spoke about. So loving yourself in a new way, opening up to your gifts and moving in that direction, and then to have all that lovely dream time energy is really, really wonderful. Now, we do have an inconjunct to the south node, you can see here, and it's building every degree the moon goes by. And Uranus is, in retrograde in Taurus, sitting there, that in conjunct, and you can see we also have a finger of fate here back to the south node. So let's talk about all of that. So the focal point here is the south node. Again, in Libra, it is everything to do with justice and fairness and connection and relationship. Libra is cardinal energy, but it's air. It's cardinal air. So it really wants to balance things out. And, its symbol is literally the scales. And I also see it as a little bridge, like a bridge to happiness. So there's more considerate energy when we're in this, when in Libra. And Mars is in Libra as well, moving towards that south node. So, it's going to take some time to get there, but it's headed in that direction. So energy moving into more considerate realms when it comes to relationships and what we give our attention to, and because most of all we're wanting balance. Now, Libra, remember, rules the kidneys and the lower back, like lower lumbar, sacral back. So you want to be careful about overdoing with that. This whole journey with the North Node in Aries and the South Node in Libra, we're going to want to be careful. You know, it started last July, and it takes us all the way through to January 2025. So we want to be careful with our lower backs. We want to do our best to stay balanced and you know, take care of yourself. Be careful about, you know, how you lift things, and don't lift anything too heavy, and don't overwork, because that pulls on your lower back. Anything that takes you out of balance, and we all go through, because, you know, we all have our own personal transits too, and there are times where we are going through the need to just get more rest. So that might be true for some of you. And, you know, but we are learning about, you know, movement and balance, and trying to stay, you know, grounded within that, whatever is the right middle way to, you know, for you at this time in your life. And we're all unique, you know. Health is not one size fits all. We all need different diets. We all need different, you know, we're all at different times. we're all here together, but it's a different time in our evolution for each one of us. So, okay. So that's to balance for the South Node there. And the opportunity comes from staying in connection to your spiritual self, your source energy, that can be, you can find optional ways to bring through whatever it is that you're trying to ground into your life. And then with that opportunity, this other sextile coming over here from the moon, there very well could be something, like I said, that comes through in dream time or meditation, and or, you know, both. So that's nice. And that sextile, this sextile up to Pluto, again, that's till October 22nd. But that in conjunct to the South Node over here, from Neptune to the South Node, that lasts all the way through December 11th. So that's nice. That gives us quite some time to regroup, understand where we've been out of balance in the past, and how important balance is in our lives, and therefore the relationships that we, you know, that we engage in. We want to make sure that we're not out of balance that way either, right? So you don't want to have too much work relationship or too much personal relationship that is out of balance. Or your relationship with just life, right? Like, you know what it's like to be like a little kid where you just can't wait to wake up in the morning and you don't want to go to sleep because you're afraid you're going to miss something. It can be like that because there's so much going on. But with that, you know, with Neptune and Pisces here, that does help us settle into dream time more easily. So that's good. Now, with that, the in conjunct to the moon, that will quickly move. You'll see it's probably gone tomorrow because the moon moves so quickly, hour by hour. So let's go ahead and, let's see, coming off the moon. Yeah, that's it. Let's go ahead and go to Wednesday here. So Wednesday we have the sun in Virgo here, exactly conjunct Mercury retrograde. And that comes through at 4:07 a.m. Pacific. This is Wednesday, September 6th. And you can see that we have a square to the moon is now, I didn't clock it when the moon exactly made it into Gemini, but it happened. And here it is. So the moon in Gemini wants to interact more. But there's a square over here to Virgo, and you know, here, imagine you can see me with my arms crossed over, you know, my chest, and I'm like, right? Mercury retrograde in Virgo with the sun is like, And there's this stubborn energy going on up to Pluto in Capricorn. So if there are some corrupt, any corruption that's going on out there, any greed and corruption that's going, we're seeing it, and we're like, and look at that, and they're not going to give it up, right? Because the grift is like what they live for. And then the Gemini moon over here is gathering all that information, and with that square, yeah, we're bumping up against each other here between the Virgo and the Gemini energy, but it's not bad because it will we've got air and earth, so we're like, okay, we're thinking about it, we're talking about it, we're wondering about it, and then Virgo will win and bring through just the facts, because that's what Virgo does eventually. And then the moon is also squaring Saturn, so again, if you're watching these dirty, corrupt people trying to grift, just trying to do what they do just only for money, and it's at the expense of humanity, the Gemini moon for the day really is going to pick that up and see that and see it for what it is. So if anything like that is happening in your life, or you have someone that you're witnessing out of integrity like that, it might not be the smartest thing to call them out. It all depends on who it is, in your life. Is somebody that, you trust and they trust you, and you just notice something. It's like, I wonder what that's about. Then, loving confrontation is always wonderful. But with the moon and the T-square here, and this has been building up, but it was kind of more in nighttime. So maybe something came through in dream time that clues you in about something. But the moon's moving towards a tighter square to the sun and Mercury. So whatever maybe came through in dream time or meditation, you will work it out consciously with the sun and Mercury in Virgo, which is good. That's the way you want it to be. But, trust your curiosity when the moon's in Gemini. Trust what you're curious to find out about. And so, yeah, so there's that. Let's see. I think that's good. So let's move on to Thursday right here. The moon's still in Gemini, of course. But we have that square up to Neptune, so again, and it's a building applying square, so it's going to get tighter. I'm starting out at 5 a.m. for this one, Thursday the 7th. But as the hours go by, this aspect will become even more predominant. It'll be stronger. It's gaining strength as it goes. And with the square between the moon and Neptune, again, the moon especially in Gemini, it has been curious. It has been wondering what's going on. Maybe you're shouldering information and you haven't come out with it yet, because the Gemini does rule the arms and shoulders and the lungs too. But there's that intuition coming through, and this could be, again, the public mood that's very curious, and there's that trine up to the south node that's also building. We actually have the aspect of the architect here going on. So on the personal level, any gains you're making going in the direction you want to go that helps you with your own gifts, your unique gifts, there can be some new ideas that come through, but there's that wisdom of the past that's holding space for you there too. But anyway, back to the Gemini moon squaring Neptune. Well, there's a tension field there when it comes to facts that are coming out. Gemini and Virgo are both fact related, or, well, Gemini is more about talking about it and the curiosity it takes to look for the facts, and then the Sun and Mercury together there brings through the facts. But with Neptune there, this could be somebody like trying to pull the wool over your eyes. It could be personally, or it could just be something that we're witnessing politically. And, we know who those players are by now. But with that Gemini moon there, just remember that it's all about communication and information, of course, but it's connected to something. So what? What is it connected to? Well, today it's to the past, and to justice, the justice that we've been waiting for so long, and we're going to be waiting, for years for it to come down fully, but we're seeing the facts come out. We're connecting to, we're seeing the delusion from the past with Neptune squaring the moon. And because remember, the moon, both the moon and the sun are luminaries. They will put the spotlight on something. But with the moon square Neptune today, your bullshit meter might be going off more than usual. Okay, so Friday, 5 a.m. Pacific, we have Friday the 8th, we have the sun here, has Mercury's crossed over it, and the sun's moving away, away from Mercury, but not, it's still going to be some days. And we also have this trine over to Jupiter. So the sun is exactly trining Jupiter, or within 2 minutes of Jupiter retrograde. So again, remember, with Jupiter retrograde, we are going back over the same territory that we already had big, going on, but it's all about assessing, reassessing, getting more deeply in touch with any false belief systems you've had going on, and then literally healing them and turning them around, so that you have a newfound sense of faith in yourself. You can expand, forwardly in the direction that you want to go, and create whatever it is that you want to create. So, yeah, it's great. And it's also good, Jupiter's also really, really good for any types of education. So if there are people out there who are educating themselves with the human body, I would not be surprised, because, these are between Virgo and Mercury. I'm sorry, the Sun and Mercury in Virgo, between Virgo energy and Taurus energy. That is all about the human body, and veterinarians. If you're training to be a veterinarian, oh, you will be so busy. That's for sure. Either one, human or pets, we all need help. So, okay, what else? Let's see. So the sun is trining Jupiter, and then the moon is here in a trine to Saturn. That's lovely that came together in that way. So the moon in Cancer, newly into Cancer. We do have that square, and it's a building square to Mars. Okay, so I have to talk about that. But let's just talk about first, the moon in Cancer is now we're really feeling things in our stomachs. Now we're definitely responding intuitively to what nurtures us, what helps us to grow. And with the trine to Saturn, from, all the water signs, but especially from Cancer to Pisces, Scorpio over here helps us to dig our heels in and dig deep and research and go deep, transform and go deep. But Cancer is here holding space for nurturing that process along, and then the connection over to, when it comes, like we have today, with Saturn in Pisces, the connection between Cancer and Pisces brings through all possibilities. There's new ways that are figured out as to how to nurture yourself and take really good care of yourself. So that's wonderful. And it's not just you, it's your family. Cancer rules the family. It rules our roots. It rules our stomachs, our chests, breasts, all that area. It rules the past. Like I said, family environment. So any issues that might come up, there's easy healing with this aspect. And with the square over to Mars, this is a lot of cardinal energy. We've got mutable over here with Saturn and Pisces, so that's helpful, because that will help us integrate, like grow and integrate. And with Mars and Libra, where there's a tension field as to who we want to go with in the direction that we're motivated to go in, because Mars is about motivation and enthusiastically moving in a certain direction. But with Libra, we're wanting to stay balanced, and so there's a little caution. Cancer energy is cautious, so is Taurus as well, though. And again, Jupiter in Taurus is still trining the sun, and there's that in Virgo. So there's cautious energy abound with these three signs here. Venus in Leo is now, it's been in that trine. It's still building that trine with Chiron and Aries. So there's more action there. If you're going in the direction that brings more peace and balance and fairness and equality into your life, and you're going in the direction that keeps your heart opening, if you can feel your heart opening in your work, if you love your work, if you care about the people you're working with or for, if there's some reciprocity at least of some type, or maybe you don't care about them and they don't care about you, but they pay you really well and you're fine with that, that's good, right? But because we don't need to win any popularity contests in our work. We need to stand in our integrity no matter what, and always go in that direction, and the things will eventually work out. So there might be some reassessing with all of this energy going on, because again, like I said, Venus in Leo is going to have to go back over that same territory that it covered because it went retrograde at 28 degrees. So there's a lot of territory to cover there. I did notice, though, I was looking at the transits for next year, sometimes do that towards the end of the year, just a little, hits here and there when I think of it. And I looked at Venus. Venus doesn't go retrograde at all next year. For 2024, there's no retrogradation for Venus. So that's interesting. Okay, so let's see, what else? Anything else with the sun, trining the moon, sun aspects to the sun? Yeah, that little sesquisquare is no big deal. Again, it's just that Mercury, this Mercury sesquisquare Capricorn, that it's going to stay there for a while, and all that indicates is that the dirty, corrupt, greedy people are just going to double down and be very stubborn because they think that that's all they have. They don't really have themselves when they have to be that greedy. Yeah. Okay, let's go ahead. Saturday, we have the moon sextiling Jupiter and the sun. And so the Cancer moon comes in at 16 degrees, and the sextile over here to the sun is at 16 degrees. And then there's also, so notice how the moon's here, we have that sextile over here to Jupiter. So that's really nice, and of course that trine from Jupiter to the sun is still there. So that nice easy flow of working to build what it is that you're wanting to build, and you're believing in yourself more. And with the Cancer moon down at this focal point here, I think there's a lot of nurturing, learning how to regulate yourself, how to self-soothe when things are, just tense. Sometimes things can be tense when we have a lot of Virgo energy. You remember what it was like when Mercury and Mars were together in Virgo? Was anybody getting good sleep during that time? That was intense, wasn't it? Goodness. So, let's see. So that with the Cancer moon, there is that sesquisquare you can see going up here to Saturn. So I feel like it's more about a growth time. It's like we have a solid footing in growing and nurturing and taking care of ourselves, loving ourselves through whatever it is, and our family and friends, loved ones as well. And because we've got this more solid foundation with our spiritually sourced foundation with Saturn in Pisces, retrograde no less, but there's more compassion. This is like a stubbornly held place of compassion, where that's really good to have. It's good to be stubbornly compassionate, right? Yeah, as long as you're not enabling someone. Now, we do have to be careful with Cancer energy can be enabling and rescuing, and so can Pisces energy. That's the only way we can mess this up, is if we're working too hard for someone else and enabling them to slack off, right? There's that possibility. So let's see, is there anything else before I close this up? Because it feels like we're kind of, it's the same. I don't see a lot of big movement this week. I feel like it's more overall, and it might be that way for the rest of the month, or even into October a little bit, there's a lot of integration going on. We have times like that. I guess I'll just end with this, is just to always remember that the three forces in the universe are expansion, which is Jupiter, and then we have contraction, which is Saturn, but then in the middle we have stasis, right? I mean, even your heart beats in a way where, the blood pumps into one side, but before it releases to the other side, we have like a little O-ring in the middle of that process in that valve, where there's just a little pause, and the whole thing doesn't just go back and forth. There's a little pause in the middle, and that's the stasis. That's the integration that happens. That's where we adapt and we learn how to be more flexible, and then we create more resourceful ways of living. And that's our Virgo energy, the Gemini moon that came through, but our Virgo and Pisces. So our mutable signs are Gemini here, Virgo here, Sagittarius up here, and then Pisces here. And so, and Jupiter rules Sag, Mercury rules Gemini and Virgo, and let's see, Neptune rules Pisces. So it's all the planets are always there holding space for those three forces. Expansion, where there's something movement oriented, where we have a beginning, that's cardinal energy, like Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn, where we start things and we move in a way that we want to go because we want something different, or we're motivated to continue on. And then as we're working, we create the stability, which is, we have the fixed. We have Taurus, Leo. Well, here, I'll go here this way. Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius there. Those are our fixed signs. So there's that, something that is stabilizing. Something, or we're stabilizing something that we can rely on. And then, of course, like I said before, we have the mutable energy that helps us be flexible and go and flow back and forth between the two, and to help us integrate. Most of all, the mutable energy will help us integrate. And I think that is precisely what is going on this week. We are taking in information, but we're integrating it because it's like, oh yeah, well, we knew that. We saw it. And in your own life personally, you're like, yeah, I've been here before. I know this. I know how this goes. So you know how to work with it when you know what you can expect. I don't see a lot of like unknown or big surprises or anything. Of course, the way we're also connected with the rest of the world, things could come through that I would never see ahead of time. Yeah. So, okay, I'm done. Thanks, you guys. Have an awesome week. Take good care. Bye.